welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
5, 4,
3,
2, 1, go.
We're rolling, we're not hoeing. Hello, how's it going? This is the Towering Podcast with the towering filmmakers of El Paso and the world. What's up, you guys? My name is Juan Flores, and I'm here with a beautiful, wonderful cast for a beautiful, wonderful film. Let's just take it away right here.
The
How's it going,
award-winning.
you guys?
Pretty good,
What's going on tonight?
What's going on?
I'm Erik Castro. I'm not the host today. I'm not the co-host. I'm a guest.
Sad.
Today we got the host, Carlos de la Torre.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's going on?
I've improved.
Oh yeah, Juan's our main
I
host. What are we
upgraded.
talking
Yeah,
about
yeah,
here?
he's the main
We all know
host.
the real deal. But no, we got the cast, some of the cast, for the Tram. You'll be doing the Tram today, and yours truly, writer director for that film. So that was pretty great. So I'm Carlos de la Torre.
Behind the scenes over here, we got Erik.
Erik Sanchez right there just giving out a peace sign. He is a Martian. He's not from this planet, but he's enjoying us. He's blessing us with his presence.
on him.
And
I
then we
think
got
so. We have a little
then we got the big O.
the Big O.
I'm here.
Oh
as always.
yeah.
How's it going, Big O?
You know, can we get Eric's name changed to Micro Viking? Because, like,
Yes.
since I met him, like,
I like
that's-
Micro Viking.
That's the impression I got.
Yeah, that fits. And then
Austin Young, forever young. How's it going,
yes,
brother?
keeping lucky.
we got Alfredo over here.
And pasta.
How's it going? How's it going?
Introduce
I'm
yourself,
Alfredo
man.
Sanchez,
Yep.
and I was a part of the Tram, which
Yeah.
is what we were here for.
That's exactly
it
what
was
we're here
such
for.
an honor to be on that film. Such an honor to be here with Tower
Awesome.
Productions. You already know. Let's get this party
our dude.
started.
Woo!
So what are we talking about today? This is like an interesting little movie that we got on the table for tonight.
Yeah.
Well,
We
it's
got
interesting because
So we got the Tram
it's an award-winning.
that we're talking about today. So it was yeah, man. I guess it was Tower's first award-winning film.
for the first
Really?
2-day challenge.
Yeah. So the Tram came about. Am I jumping into it, Juan? Is that
Go
what
ahead,
we're doing?
yeah,
We're
yeah.
jumping into
Go
it.
ahead,
All
go
right.
ahead, go ahead.
Because everybody who's seen the TowerCast, if you haven't seen it or you haven't heard it, we talk about the films we've been making, especially right now focusing on the Tower 20 campaign that we've been doing for the past year, a little over a year. We worked on 20 short films, and that's kind of what we're going to be talking about. But I don't know if my producer is going to get mad at me for saying this. Once we're done with our 20 films in Tower, right? No, we're also gonna be focusing on reaching out to different filmmakers around town, and
I
getting
like
their take on
Making bridges.
on making films.
Yes.
Making films and what their experience has been like making films in El Paso and the surrounding areas. So this is a filmmaking podcast, and if you're new, welcome, and if you're not, then you know how this goes. So we're gonna get into the Tram.
Nice.
The Tram was
what
brought
it was.
to you by the El Paso 2-Day Movie Challenge, brought to you by the El Paso Film Commission.
Shout out to
Shout out to Drew Mayer Oaks, our film commissioner, which
Duty.
we love and hold dear to our heart because he's been good to us.
Shares everything.
So, I said this on the last episode. Drew started revamping a lot of really cool things in El Paso filmmaking, one of which is the 2-Day Challenge. We were unfamiliar with the concept, but Michael Head has done quite a few 2-day challenges back in the day in Lubbock and in Dallas, and so he's been a part of a few 2-day challenges, or 48-hour film contest, however you want to say it. And he brought to our attention that this is pretty common around the world in terms of filmmaking. There's a lot of people that do 2-day film challenges, or especially around the country in the U.S. And we're totally unfamiliar with it. Drew was a film commissioner, has been a film commissioner in a few cities. I know he's been a film commissioner in San Antonio, and he was a film commissioner in in Las Cruces. He was involved with that film commission for a little while. So he's been exposed to that, and he thought El Paso needs to bring this back. It was the first 48-hour challenge in I think something like 12 or 15 years in El Paso. They hadn't done one. So it was cool. They brought it back. As soon as we found out about it, we signed up. We're like, this is exciting. We've never done this. We don't know what it's going to be like.
But we ready?
But we're ready. And we brought our crew, and we brought the cast that we knew would bring something great to these films. So quick shout out to the cast that was involved in the film. We had Castro. We had 4 leads. Erik Castro.
Yours truly.
We had Alfredo Sanchez. We had Alexis Solano, which was here earlier today. He had to go to work, but he dropped by just
He was
to
the zombie.
Yeah, he dropped by just to say hi and make sure the podcast is good and stuff. So shout out to him. And we had Paola Dubru. I don't know how to pronounce your last name. I hope I'm saying it right, Paola. Forgive me if I'm not. And she was our female lead. She's a love interest for John Eric's.
She was
character.
really great. She couldn't show up today.
She's couldn't make it today, but we miss you, Paola. Shout out to you, and
Wish you were here.
and we look forward to seeing you soon. She was one of the main cast as well. We also had Brandon Lee Camarena, which was a guest on our last episode.
Yes.
He's a great actor.
Definitely a character in the movie.
Yeah.
He's a crazy dude with the flag.
yeah, and a character in real life. I mean, he's
Yeah.
a cool dude. Check him out. He works at Alamo Draft House. He hosts a lot of movie events and stuff. And we also had Hitzel Monsivais. She's great. She kind of came on last minute. We had only worked with her previously on one film, if I'm not mistaken, which was Edge of Desire.
Really good.
And she's great. She's a great actress. So shout out to Hitzel as well. And James. And we had James Brown.
Oh, nice.
We had James Brown.
The doctor,
James
the
Brown?
scientist.
Yeah.
Dr.
yeah.
Brown?
And obviously the crew, man, everybody pulled through for this film. We had Luis Moreno Ramirez as my DP.
Yeah. But it didn't work for sure.
He did great, man. Some of the most visual stuff I've ever done, man. And
With DS, right? Dope scope?
No. Luis?
Yeah.
No. He's independent. He's been with Tower here
cool,
and there,
okay.
but he does his own thing now. If I'm not mistaken, I won't give too much away. They've been promoting it, so I think we could say some stuff. He's working with Joshua Lozano, who's the writer of this film. He wrote this film.
You wrote it? Not co-wrote it?
We kind of co-wrote. He
Okay.
wrote the draft, and then we kind of started doing some character arcs together and started shaping the script once he finished the first draft. But he pulled through, man. He was working
Right.
since the minute we left the event.
So this
Shout out to
2-day...
Josh.
Shout out to Josh. Shout out to Josh. Shout out to Luis. They're working on the Stephen King Dollar Baby film right
nice.
now. So if you don't know about the Dollar Babies, Google it. You basically buy the rights to a Stephen King short story for $1, and you can make a film out of it. And Josh and Luis are doing Rest Stop, if I'm not mistaken. They've been promoting it, so I know I'm at liberty to talk about it a little bit. But look them up, man. They're on Facebook and stuff. They're putting in some work too. So shout out to these guys.
Definitely.
So this was a year ago. This was the first film that Tower in which they won an award for. Like this was the first. This is you guys won the audience award for this film and such.
We did,
right?
yeah. We
Yes.
were blessed enough to pull that through.
I guess my question is like, what did that like represent to you guys to be like, okay, we're gonna go like, not assuming you guys go for like awards and such, but like, was it something you guys wanted to have under your belt under Tower? Like we should.
I mean, I'm just putting because I had one of my dog's hairs is on.
Oh, nice.
Juan's mic, so-
Oh, no
Yeah,
idea.
definitely edit that.
No, but I don't know that we talked about awards and Alfredo and Erik chime in on this because you guys have been part of Tower. I mean, you've been helping out and acting and in every capacity. So chime in. They've been with Tower since day one, man, for real.
For a reason.
I think for us it was more about the experience. We'd
Mhm.
never done a 2-day. We wanted to see if we could do it. We developed the plan the way we always try to, and I think it was more about that. If I'm being honest, I'm sure Drew mentioned it. I'm sure they mentioned it at the event, but I don't know that we knew that there was going to be an award.
Oh, really?
I don't know that we knew.
I think we were just like all excited,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah,
I think we were just excited to be a part of something like so cool, I guess. Like when we heard about the challenge, like, oh wait, okay, you only have 48 hours. You can get whatever genre. Like what? I know. I remember like we heard musical. We were like tripping out, and then the zombies too. We were like, oh man, I don't think we want the zombie one.
That's something we should talk about.
I'm very competitive, so I really wanted to win. I wanted to
Right.
bring it to the.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like we all kind of wanted to see where we were at.
Exactly.
And then the
Towering
awards was
filmmaker.
just something that was like on our mind, obviously.
Yeah.
But
I think
I
it was.
felt like we kind of knew it would happen.
Yeah.
Like, to make it like I was just like, all right, we're gonna get it. Like no matter
Well,
what.
I think it was just like it was more about proving it to ourselves that we
Mhm.
could pull this off, you know,
Mhm.
like proving that we can pull off this 48 film. And let's walk everybody through really quick of what this 48-hour challenge entails. So what happens is you go to a mixer where you meet the other teams that have signed up, and you can kind of network with them and talk to them, see what they're about. We met at the Album Park like rec center. That's where they hosted the network mixer event. At that event, they announce each team's genre, they announce the line of dialogue that you have to write into your film.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
And
explain
they,
why.
and they announce the character that you have to write into your film.
The three things that
And a
you
prop,
have
and a
to.
prop.
So 4.
And a prop.
And
Okay.
a prop. 4. There's a 5th kind of loose one, which they encourage all the filmmakers to showcase El Paso.
Oh, okay. Of course.
Oh yeah, you have
Showcase
to
El Paso. Give some love for El Paso and show the city in your film. So that was kind of a loose requirement, right? So they do that to flood creativity, man. Like, you have to write this into your script. It has to be included somehow.
Mm-hmm.
What applied to everybody was everything's the same for everybody except the genre. So the character that you had to write in was a food truck operator by the name of, what was his name? You guys remember his name? The name?
Okay, I feel like it's on the
Brandon's
tip of my tongue.
character. Yeah, it had a weird
Like a
name.
funky name, you got to put him in.
Yeah. So, I can't remember it right now, but it was a character. You had to write him in. His occupation had to be that he was a food truck operator.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He had to have, that was his job, and you had to write that in. And the line was, these can't possibly be the real ones. These can't possibly be the real ones.
Delivered by Paula.
Delivered by Paola for this film. And the prop was banana peels.
Nice.
Banana.
That was the requirements for this film. So they give you all that. This is around 6 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday. They say, go off. You have to turn in the film on Sunday at 6, right?
4.
Sunday at
They
7.
release you at 7.
They release you at 7. That's right. The event's at 6. They release you at 7. So you have exactly 48 hours.
48 hours. Yeah.
When we went to the event, it was Austin, Sandra, my fiance, which was did hair and makeup for the film, and she's a script supervisor, and Josh, the writer, and myself. I think that was just us 4, right? So as soon as we left the event, Josh had his laptop with him, and he started writing.
Mm-hmm.
We were still like, we left the event, we started talking about the film, but we were like, all right, we got to go to Walmart and buy supplies for this weekend. Like, we were so
Yeah.
new to this, dude. We should have, on the second one, we learned our lesson, but go get drinks and food for everybody who's going to stay over at home base and be working on the film. Josh was writing through that, man. We were in the van, and he was in the van writing. He stayed in the van while we shopped for everything he wrote.
This was like Friday night, right?
This was Friday night. Came back home. He finished the first draft, I think, at like 2 a.m., right? Something like that. And we got to work on that draft. We didn't go to sleep till 4 a.m., and we set a call time at 8 a.m.
The read through.
So we slept for 4 hours. And the
As one does for a film.
for a 48, well, for a 48 specifically, you don't sleep, if especially if you're behind the camera.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think, was Luis
Yeah,
at the
your doc
event?
really showed
No,
that,
right?
man.
Luis didn't go. So, anyways, that's what happens at a 48. And that's how the Tram came about. Our genre was zombie, which was something, if I'm being honest, we were dreading. We didn't want it because it's hard. It's hard to do that in general, let alone for a 48-hour film. We didn't want zombie. We didn't want musical.
I was excited
Right.
when you guys said it.
But we got zombie, and we texted everybody, guys, we got zombie.
Yeah.
My fiance Sandra, she picked it out. We were like, you pick it out, you could go pick out the thing. And she was so bummed. She's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, I picked this one for you guys. I know you don't want it. I was like, let's do it. We're gonna do it. It'll be
Like,
fun.
once we knew, we were like, all right, we're gonna go all out.
Yeah.
Like, that's how it was.
Yeah. So that's kind of catching everybody up on what it, I guess, pre-production in a sense, right?
Okay, yeah. So how did you guys get involved in this? I mean,
Oh, right by the read through,
you
man.
saw the tower signal go up in the sky. You're like, oh, they need
Exactly,
us.
Pretty
son.
much, that's how it was.
Put our cape on.
Yeah.
So when we got there for the table read, man, it's pretty intense. We only had an hour before we had to go to the first location,
Really?
which was the, I think, Roadhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have to do a quick read through.
Which was cool though is that we kind of already knew each other. Like
Oh,
we
yeah,
all
for
knew
sure.
each other. Like that's I think why they picked that cast is because we were all so familiar and comfortable with
Right.
each other.
Were you in a previous film? I know you were on Depth of Field, Alfredo, but was this the first big thing you did with us?
That's true.
I think so. I don't know if
No?
I did anything.
Did he do something else?
before.
Yeah, he had to
I-
have been something else. I mean, the music
The
video and all
music
that.
video.
The music video was before this.
Yeah,
for sure.
that's what I did also.
Came out in my movie too. Rooster's Beak.
Which
Oh,
video.
yeah.
Was Rooster Speak before the 48?
Yeah.
I think it was.
Okay.
I know you guys
I had
don't
done a
understand.
couple. I had
wasn't
done
a
a couple
big
small
role.
things.
It wasn't a big role. I mean, like,
one was
you
it?
didn't have a ton of dialogue.
Rooster's Beak,
Uh-huh.
the one where like people got killed.
People got
like,
killed.
Blood.
Yeah, for sure,
And
for sure.
I got killed.
Yeah.
You know what?
I think you survived.
No, I got
No,
it.
no,
I got
no,
it.
no.
We all got killed.
yeah,
You were
got
the first to go or something.
Yeah.
Okay,
But you know
there
what? We
go.
met Alfredo. This is Alfredo's first time being on the podcast, guys. So
true,
Yeah,
pretty
thanks for
awesome.
having me.
We met Alfredo because him and Austin have been friends
That's a good
for
one, dude. That's
for
good.
quite some time. But
Oh yeah, for sure. Shout out to Austin.
Flowers
We've been
for
friends since like 5 years old.
That's definitely how we got
Yeah, yeah.
introduced to you, for sure.
Brother.
and again, it was one of those things where it was like, hey, my friend wants to act. He's taking acting classes and stuff. And I remember we were in need for extras for our feature film, and he came through. He came through to be an extra. He was like a patient and depth of field in our feature.
Yeah.
And that's the first time we met him, and he was super cool, man. He was just a good guy on set, gave good vibes, and he expressed like, hey, I want to do more stuff. I want to do more films. So let me know if you guys have anything. And he auditioned.
He's been in everything pretty
You
much.
auditioned for us a
Yeah,
couple
yeah.
of times. Like you did an audition by yourself, and then you did audition with Alexis.
Oh, at UTEP.
UTEP,
And yeah,
true.
yeah, for sure.
And we knew he had something. We knew he
And
was
especially for this part, because he's got the bodybuilder
the
type
build.
of
He had
look.
the build. Yeah.
So survival.
Yeah, for sure. I remember I didn't want you to cut my shirt. I don't know if you remember that.
Dude, all our
But
wardrobes
he,
were messed up, dude.
he wanted to cut my shirt all through here. I was like, nah. I got the body for that. Calm down. Like, I ain't Rambo. I was
the
like,
arms, dude. I
yeah,
got
I
the
was like, but nah, hell no.
Yeah. That was an interesting thing. It was an interesting thing for sure. I mean,
Great
I guess we
experience.
get into production at this point, right? We talk about production a
Well,
little
yeah, I
bit.
mean, because like the thing about these films is that they move pretty fast. So like, I mean, I was with you guys for this year for like what you know what's funny. So
we took 3 awards this time.
which was a
Man,
crazier, bigger
nice.
film. We'll
We'll
talk
talk
We'll
about
get
yeah.
to that. We'll get to
But
that.
I mean, obviously
Where-
this one
where's
set
it
the
at?
groundwork for
sure.
the
It taught us a
this year,
lot.
for sure.
It taught us a lot for production. Oh yeah, let's.
So
let's,
like,
let's
was
make-
that one of the things that like, okay, well, not like you obviously cast whoever you have around you with like these like kinds of projects, but like it helped that you knew these guys. It helped that they knew what to expect from you.
Yeah.
It helped that they knew what to expect. Like
Everybody
each other
we
and such.
worked with on this, we had worked with before on some capacity or another. So we had to get people who we knew their strengths.
Mhm.
Like I said, Alfredo and Paola, we worked on them in the music video. Erik, we've worked with him in a number of capacities before that.
And Alexis, like,
Alexis.
he even worked with me on that first film that you were talking about.
On the
Depth
feature.
of Field.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a doctor.
He had a.
He
He
was
was
the doctor and I was the patient.
the second lead. Yeah.
That's true.
Just Castro just doesn't leave.
Man, the door's open. I keep walking in.
Yeah, you told
No,
me.
but yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. The thing about the 48s is I like to think that it's like if Robert Rodriguez would have created a competition
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
you had to use everything around you. You had to know your strengths. You had to use what you had and
Solve the problems
then
right
the-
there and there. 'Cause
exactly.
It's not next week.
in an efficient manner.
Exactly.
Because you have. I don't know how other people approach it. I'd like to know how other filmmakers approach it. So if you're watching, guys, comment on the
for
video
sure.
and let
For
us
sure,
know
please.
how you
yeah,
guys do it
yeah,
differently.
engage with
if you
us.
guys do it differently. But the way we approached it was Friday was pre-production and writing, Saturday was table read and production, and Saturday
Which was the hard
night
part for us.
was Saturday night through turning in the film was post-production. So we started out Saturday morning here at my house, and we were lucky enough to get the tram, the Wiley tram, Weiler aerial
And
tram.
why is the movie called The Tram?
Because that's the goal. So the film is about a group of survivors who are in
Like
the zombie apocalypse, who are trying to reach high ground where the zombies can't reach them.
That's our group's.
Right. That's their mentality. Is like
Yeah.
we got to reach the tram because it's a high ground, and they're kind of disagreeing on that. But ultimately, Paola's character convinces everybody like this is where we need to go.
Right.
This is the right place to go. So it's about their journey to the tram. I remember Josh named it something else originally. He had a crazy cool concept about the film taking place with a cigarette and the cigarette burning through, and that's the timeline of the film. It was just too big
yeah.
for this film. And I think it was called The Cigarette at first or something like that. And I was like, nah, their journey is to go to the tram. Let's call it the tram.
The tram's
And he was
perfect.
like, yeah, he liked it, and he started writing it down. So we started here, but we split crews up. So John, Erik, Castro, Paola, Ricky which is our sound director,
Shout out to Ricky
and
too.
myself, we went up to the tram to get the first scenes. Austin and everybody else. I think I took. Did I operate camera? No, I took Luis as well.
Oh, you operated.
I operated camera while
Yeah,
Luis
you
with you
operated.
guys. Okay, so Luis, Austin, everybody else went to the cemetery. They met up at Concordia Cemetery, which was an interesting thing, because
They thought we were trying to steal graves.
yeah, basically we had called when you do a 48-hour
robbers over
challenge,
here.
at least in El Paso, the city gives you permission to shoot anywhere that's public property.
Mm-hmm.
A cemetery is weird in the sense that it's public property and it's private property. It's in this weird limbo.
Yeah.
So we called the city. We talked to our film commissioner at the time. Wasn't even Drew. It was Susie. Susie Gaines.
I miss her.
She was great, man. And we asked her, can we shoot at the cemetery? And she said, here's a contact number for the person that's in charge there. We called that person, and I forgot his name, but he was like, yeah. You guys are cool to come shoot here, no problem. I'll make sure to tell security that you guys are going to be here so that they don't kick you out.
And that's what the film commissioner is there for, right?
Right,
To
exactly,
secure
to facilitate
locations
that.
and yeah.
And okay, cool, we're good. I get a phone call from Austin telling me, hey, man, while we're shooting a scene up at the tram, and he's like, hey, man, you need to get over here. I was like, why? He's like, are you almost done? I was like, well, no, we just got here. We got to shoot these scenes. He's like, they're kicking us out of the cemetery.
Yeah.
They're kicking us out of the cemetery. The Historic Society of El Paso came and said that we don't have the right to be shooting here, that we have to go through them to shoot at this. Because Concordia, if you don't know, carries a lot of history of El Paso. It's a historical place. It's got Civil War, Mexican Revolution history. Like, people are buried there that are from those eras.
Oh, dang.
So
Sure.
it's considered a landmark.
Super old.
Cool.
Super old.
Yeah.
And they came through and were like, hey, yeah, you guys can't be shooting here. There's this whole thing. Sandra, my fiance, and Austin were like talking to her, convincing her, like, we're doing this for the 48-hour challenge. They told us we could be here. And eventually, I guess she kind of let off. Right? She was like, all right, no problem. You guys just have to fill out some paperwork. So on the spot, they were filling out paperwork while Sandra had to be working on the cast makeup and stuff and costuming.
Blood,
So Austin calls me, tells me, hey, man, never mind. I think we're good. Just keep doing your thing, but hurry up.
Nice.
And we finished the scenes at the tram. We come down.
Which was hard.
It was tough because, oh, man, we got to give a shout-out to them because they let us shoot there before they opened. So we had complete control. However, there was people in line already.
Yeah, I was going to say, he was still trying to hold them up, even after they opened.
He was holding them off. And I forgive me because I don't remember the gentleman's name who helped us, but
John, no?
his name was John?
Yeah, I think his name was John.
Yeah? I think you're right.
John
So.
Smith?
No. He's
But
cool, man. He's
he
cool,
was
man.
he was the amazing help, man, and part of the requirements for 48 is that you have to sign location release forms. You have to get people to sign location release forms if it's not public property, which the tram isn't. So he was nice enough to like sign those release forms and help us out through all that, and he was holding the people off so we could finish our shots. He was like,
That was tough, man.
I think they opened 30 minutes later than they were supposed to. Or
'Cause that
something
was
like
the ending scene. If you guys would watch the tram, it was the
Yeah.
ending scene.
So we get our stuff. We're on to the next location. We come down.
And it was super hot, especially up there.
Yeah.
And because I was carrying
It was hot that day, right?
In the
cooler,
cemetery.
jacket,
Was it in July or something,
cane.
summer?
It was in
Yeah.
the summer. It was in
Right.
I
June or
remember Paula
July,
got
right?
sunburned,
It was in
like
June.
her
Everybody-
face.
Yeah,
got
it was sweaty
super
and
bad.
it was El Paso
I even
hot.
did too.
And so we come down from the tram. We get in the car to go to the next location, which is a cemetery. And we're driving down. And we're like, I asked the guys, like, hey guys, where's
The script.
the script?
What?
And the makeup, it was the script and the makeup because we had the makeup in a bag.
What do you mean? Where's the
And
script?
I had to apply the makeup on you and Paola just however I
Right
could.
there,
I
yeah.
don't know anything about makeup. So just however I could. And I'll just throw it on their face. But
the Simpsons shotgun.
yeah, because Eric's right. It wasn't shot in sequence. That was the last scene of the film, and we shot it last,
Yeah.
or we shot it first, I mean. So I had to apply the makeup that they were wearing for the previous scenes and stuff. So anyways, everybody's like, it's a journey to go up and down that tram. It takes a while. So everybody's like, well, I didn't get it. Nobody got it. So I turn around, we park, I run back up,
You
And
skipped through the line all the
I
way
skipped
through.
through the line. I was like, yeah, we went up and
It's an emergency.
they had opened at that point. They like, so people were.
That
I
was
left
the
my baby
only
up there.
script
I know,
that we
bro.
had.
No. It was more about the makeup because we
Yeah.
needed it for the cemetery
Oh.
scenes. And I think we had makeup and we had some props in there and stuff. So
Yeah.
we took it up
It was
there.
a
'cause
little
we needed
bag,
it.
yeah.
So anyways,
Doesn't it like scare you a little that the tram got closed like a month after shooting this?
No way, did it?
Oh, really? I was gonna
Yeah.
ask. Is that still? the
it's
thing?
not open and that they're not going to open for a good year. So basically the tram is so old that they hadn't updated some of the safety requirements and stuff. Not in a bad way, like it wasn't going to fall apart or anything.
The script
but
was so
they
heavy.
just-
it
they
just
Those were those sounds that I was
they
hearing.
needed to update.
bent the key.
They needed to update their operations basically.
Yeah. Just
So they
Wear and
closed it
tear.
down. I think it's been closed for like a couple years now.
I think it's reopened now,
Oh, it's reopened now?
or it's getting close.
Yeah, well, anyways, a month after we shot, they closed it. So we were lucky enough to shoot at that place. This is a beautiful place, man. It's a beautiful place
Yeah.
to shoot any film in.
perfect
Um,
ending for a film too.
We got the stuff. I got the stuff, and then we came back down. We rushed. We were rushing to the cemetery, and my actor here, my lead actor, was getting a little hungry.
I need my Snickers bar.
My lead
I get
actor
hungry, man.
was like, "Hey, man, I need you to stop at like a Family Dollar or something because I
Dude,
need."
I had just lost like about 20 pounds of sweat up there, dude. Just sweating over.
It was tough. It was a tough environment to shoot in, you know. So
Because I was carrying
So-
everything, like the meat that I was supposed to be carrying.
Yeah.
And the tire iron.
yeah. So we stop at a Dollar General, and I have my ADs. Adam Lopez was my AD, and Austin, calling me like, "Yo, you need to fucking hurry up!
Yo,
Like,
your
we gotta
actor's
go."
hungry, that's why.
And I was like, "Yo, Erik wanted a snack, man. What do you want me to tell you?"
I apologize,
Didn't
guys.
he come out with like a big old box?
He came out with a box of granola bars, and he was like passing them out to everybody. No, hey, that's the thing about Erik too. Is like if he's gonna buy food, he's gonna buy food for everybody. Like he did
Yeah.
buy snacks and shit. So,
For sure.
anyways, we get to the cemetery. We're all ready to go.
My favorite scene, man, that the cemetery.
The cemetery.
When I have to slide like a freaking running back.
Yeah.
How many
So-
takes did you get?
I did like 3 or 4, man. My knee was bummed,
I
dude.
remember you did way
But I
too
just wanted
much.
the take, dude. To like,
Yeah,
legit.
yeah. I mean, and I think I talked to Luis about shooting all this in oneers. Like no cuts, no setups, just camera falling through. Shoulder rig.
Scorsese over here. Scorsese.
And we had I should preface this by saying Michael Head was a producer on the film. He sat with us and taught us what the 48 was and what you have
Ooh,
to
that
get
was
prepped for.
very key.
It was very key, except we didn't use any of his advice because no. You know what's? It's because like when you do a 48, the ideal thing is to shoot with 2 people in one location.
The quicker the better.
The quicker the better.
Yeah.
That's the ideal thing to
Yeah.
do, and a lot of films did that for the 48. A lot of the entries were just one location, 2-3 people.
And
That's
Tower
all it
just
was.
like, let's get the whole tower crew
Dude,
in
I
it.
mean, we had the tram, the Concordia Cemetery, the Pelicano house, right? You guys, and the boardwalk, which was the food trucks area. 4 locations,
Oh, that
a
was a lot of
big
locations.
cast,
I
because
forgot.
we had a 6 or 7 in cast. So we kind of, Michael was like, "You guys should keep it simple. It should be like this. It should be like that." And we didn't take any of that advice. We were
2 years in a
ambitious, man.
row,
We were
baby.
ambitious. So we shot at the cemetery. We need to get there. You're right. It was very hectic because it was a scene where Alexis's character Robert was turning into a zombie. That's one of the conflicts that they face is that he's been infected,
And he's
they
my
have to-
brother.
and he's his brother. He plays his brother in the film, and they're trying to get an antidote from
James.
from James, the doctor or scientist friend that they have at the
Doc
cemetery.
Brown.
So, Doc
Dude,
Brown.
I don't know who edited that scene, but the whole him taking the time trying to like explain it, dude, it fit perfectly. The suspense to it,
It was perfect.
because it could have been quick.
We had 3 editors, 2 editors.
Because you noticed that?
No, James hit
With
that
3
scene
editors.
like
Taking his
so
time and
perfect.
stuff.
Like
Shout out to
It
was all out,
Austin.
It was intense.
Yeah.
Like, all right, get it.
when
Yeah.
I saw it like on film, I was like, wow, okay,
was, like,
that
pretty
was so
legit.
much better.
Shout
than
out to
I thought.
Austin Young, Daniel Herrera, and Luis, the DP. They were the 3 editors for this film.
Great editing.
That was
man.
one thing we learned right off the bat was we need to work through the night, have multiple editors, and work in shifts. I'll talk about post in a little bit. Shout out to Cemetery.
Champs over here.
Very intense scene. Very lively. Hitzel's character turns into a zombie too, or she was always kind of infected but never told everybody. Very intense scene.
Attacks me.
Attacks
you.
Alfredo, yeah. And
Yeah,
she tackled you in the
Yeah,
cemetery.
nice
Tackled
shit,
you?
like, twice.
Yeah. So that was a great scene.
Great scene.
We had to move on from there to the boardwalk. We talked to the owner. The owner of the boardwalk. If you guys don't know the boardwalk, it's a chain of food trucks basically where
Delicious.
Where Ricky's paintball used to be.
Ricky's paintball used to be
Is
right
that
in
there
front.
in the back?
It's still there. It's in the
It's still there.
I was
Well,
looking at
it's
Ricky.
that bottom. I think Ricky's paintball used to own both properties,
Right.
and they sold that front property because they used to do firewood. There was a firewood place, right? So I think they used to own both. Anyways, in that place, the owner was getting calls from everybody from the 2-day because we needed to use a food truck operator in the script. Sandra, my fiance's sister, went to school with him.
Okay.
And since she knew, like, Sandra was like, hey, we need a food truck. Where should we shoot? She was like, oh, I went to school with this guy. I have him on Facebook. Do you guys want me to ask him, like, if you can shoot at his place? And we're like, yeah. He was the owner of the food truck place. So we were, thanks to Vettel, she hooked it up for that. He was, like, cool with it. He was like, free reign, do whatever you want, man. No worries. And there was people already getting there to get food.
Yeah. I
Um,
remember that.
And I think we ran a little late, right? We had some of the cast would like show up relatively late. I think like an hour late or something, right? And that pushed us back. I don't know who. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Brandon. No, I don't remember. Brandon. Brandon was early.
Brandon got there like 3 hours early. Yeah. You know why?
Oh yeah,
Because
he was there. Yeah.
I think because when we shot Rooster's Beak, he was having car troubles.
Yeah.
So and Rooster's Beak was before this, so he tried to anticipate it to have car troubles,
Hey,
and
that's
he ended up
smart.
getting there
That's a
like
good
3
actor
hours
right there.
early. The funny thing is, Brandon, he decided. Well, when he got there, he was like texting us like, "Hey, we're here. We're still at the cemetery." We're like, "Yeah, we'll be on our way." And he actually told us, he's like, "By the way, another film company showed up. I'm not gonna say any names, but he was like, they showed up too to film here." We're like, "Oh crap," and this and that. We're like, hopefully they're not there for long, but yeah, they just showed up and left. But yeah, Brandon was there for like a good 2-3 hours just
My
chilling
bad,
in his car.
Brandon.
Cool.
I don't remember who it was. It might. It's because look, the thing about it is we were traveling in at least 3 different vehicles. I remember we used Fredo's car.
Yeah.
We used my grandma's van, and your truck. We had a few different vehicles, so just getting everybody there was a challenge too. You know, just whatever traffic or whatever.
For sure.
Anyways, we were a little behind on schedule because we were racing. All of this is exterior. The whole film is shot exterior, which just presents a whole different animal too. Like, you shouldn't do that on your 48. I'm telling you right now. You're fighting against the sun. You're running against time.
True.
It's not even about time to get the film edited. It's about the sun's
'cause
about
the
to go
last scene-
down, and you have 2 hours until it sets. So at the boardwalk, I think we had like 3 hours before the sun was gonna set, right? And we were late an hour,
And we still have to go to the other one.
which was the opening. We shot it entirely backwards.
Yeah.
We shot the film entirely backwards.
I think it's because we did it like we're gonna
Yeah.
like,
But
Yeah,
it
yeah.
worked because
It worked,
that
yeah.
one the sun was coming down already,
we're working
so it's kind of like
Yeah, and
working your way down.
yeah. I don't. So we shot at, I don't know the exact name. It's a house, an abandoned house out in Pelicano House, out in
yeah, everybody knows about that.
everybody in El Paso, you know where it's at. But
It's the
aesthetically,
house.
it was perfect.
Yeah.
Aesthetically, it
Little
was perfect
hideout.
for the film.
Make out reef.
It starts. Yes, it starts out as a as a like hideout, as a
Yeah.
hideout from this crew, and they have their little communications when you get there, and somebody whistles, and it's just a whole cool thing.
That was cool. Yeah.
That was improv. I think we just thought of it on the spot. And that was our last location. We beat the sun barely, and
The
then
last take.
you want to talk about that? Talk about that. Talk
my
about that. Talk about that. Talk about that.
Okay, so so there's this take at that house where
It was in the
Erik-
script, right?
yeah, and Paula, their characters are talking to each other, and I can't remember what they're telling each other, but they're about to kiss, and I'm supposed to go in there and you know, clear my you know, kind of interrupt them a little bit, but that was in the script, but on the next page.
Right.
So I didn't see that was actually in the script. So he kept telling me, clear your throat, because I wasn't clearing my throat.
I was like, yo,
and
cut.
So before, I was like, what, does my voice sound
Yeah.
like scratchy or what? So
Oh, whoa.
before like they were filming, I was clearing my throat because he kept
Yes,
telling me.
so before,
But then
we-
come the take, I wouldn't clear my
no,
throat
yeah,
because I
yeah.
was like, I cleared my throat already. I was like, what does he mean?
before the
He didn't tell me we
Yeah, yeah,
did
like,
it.
he was-
I'm not playing like
You don't
5
know,
or
you
6
don't
yeah, we did like
takes.
5 or 6 takes. And the first couple of times, like, it's an easy thing to forget. It's an easy thing to forget because since it's shot in a oneer, you have his character just kind of come from the shadows, like come out of the black, and like he's in between these two characters that are having this romantic moment. So it's easy to forget. It's easy to forget like a simple thing. So I'm like, all right, let's get a couple takes, whatever. But we were
Make it
running.
more awkward.
It was the last
It was
shot.
the last
The
shot.
sun was going down on us. We were at a peak.
I was about to kiss her already. Man. That's good.
So we had Alfredo doing this, and he kept looking at me like, "What the fuck? What do you mean clear my throat? Like what? Like Alfredo, look at. I think I got the script. I was like,
Yeah, you're
it says
supposed
that
to-
you gotta
That's what you
interrupt
noticed,
them
yeah.
by clearing your throat, and he was like, "Oh, I thought you meant to
I
clear it
mean-
before the cameras rolled and shit, dude. That was the funniest thing ever."
I was like, what's wrong with my throat? Why does he keep telling me clear my throat? But it was in the script. Like I said, it was on that next page. so I
Perfect
didn't
way,
see it.
perfect
It
way
was
to
fun.
end shooting that day because this is great, man. It was funny. We wrapped. We had a lot of interruptions up there. People go up there to off road. So we had like quads and
Oh, yeah,
dirt
towards the
bikes and
end.
people in their
This guy just
trucks
kept
making
coming
a
back and
shitload of
forth.
noise.
Things you can't control.
Yeah.
Things you can't control. Not to mention, like I said, don't shoot exterior because it presents a lot of sound problems too.
Mm.
And we wrapped filming. Cast was dismissed, and we headed back to home base to start editing the film.
That's where I give you the whole props for all you
Was
guys.
that
man.
so? That was only
2
what,
days
two
with
to
no
three,
sleep.
two to
That
three
was the real
locations.
work.
Four.
Locations.
4 or 5, right?
How far? Like relatively far were they? Did you like obviously like
each corner of town.
what was your game plan? Like, okay, look, we're gonna go to these spots. We're gonna get these actors.
Well, I'm sure Austin and Adam, who were the ADs, Austin worked out the original kind of schedule. We approached the 48 the same way we approach every film, by prepping.
Mhm.
We know a lot of guerrilla filmmakers that do it on the fly, and I admire you guys. My anxiety won't let me do that. And Austin, as a producer, he can't think that way, you know. So Austin generated a schedule where, like they said, just kind of running against time, right? So we started in the Tram, which was what would you say, central, west, northeast central Paso.
Yeah, all the way.
From there, Concordia Cemetery, which is central area, downtown, almost
Yeah.
getting to downtown. So up from the mountains down to there, down to the valley, and then all the way to Zaragoza on the east side for the boardwalk,
Mhm.
and there all the way to far east side, which is a Pelicano house, almost Horizon. Yeah, you're right. It's like east side Horizon area. So yeah, each side of town.
Really.
Yeah.
How much? So like, is that something you would recommend doing?
Nope.
Recommend not doing?
Nope.
So you
Look,
did that.
Look,
like,
I
feel
can't
you.
say no.
It
I
worked.
can't say no.
It worked.
I recommend you using whatever is gonna make your story stronger, whatever that is.
As long as you do it within the time frame and stuff.
I'm never
right?
gonna stop
Yeah.
bragging about my cast and crew, man, because I ain't shit. It was the crew that and cast that made that happen.
No. We were just talking about you guys are the ones that didn't sleep for 2 days.
Yeah, that's the real
Dude,
work.
I remember you guys were taking turns sleeping on this guy's couch.
Yeah, so we had a home
That's
base.
insane.
We had a home base that but I mean, you can, what I'm trying to get across is that you can only do that with a great crew.
Oh yeah.
And we had a great crew. So we get back to
And a
home
nice
base.
couch.
I think we ordered like pizza or wings or something quick, right? Just ate. Who edited first, Austin? Who's the first editor on that one? Was it Luis?
I'm thinking.
That was so dramatic,
The reason
man.
I ask-
Stop being so dramatic.
The reason I ask is because I know it was Luis's choice as a DP. We didn't think of this on set. At least I don't think we did. It was the first editing thing that he screened for me. Whoever screened for me, they made the
You?
image in black and white. And
Yeah,
I-
we did that to save time for color, which
Yes.
ended up working out for
Yes.
the film anyways, regardless.
I don't know. It was an editor's choice for sure, but I was doing something. I came back. I saw the first. They showed me. They were like, "Hey, what do you think of this?" Or did you? Yeah, you edited without the black and white, right?
Yeah, black and white wasn't thrown in until
The next day.
Yeah.
Why?
Those-
It was never a choice. We never thought
Yeah.
about it that way.
I had one theory because of the last scene.
Well, yeah, I mean, once we decided to go black and white, that was the plan for it to
I
come
think
back
they
in
were just
color.
playing with LUTs and colors. Like,
Because you couldn't do anything with the last scene. So
you're right. It was the first thing I saw when I woke up. I don't know who the
Yeah.
last editor was. Who brought us home?
I was the last editor because, from what I remember, I slept maybe like 30 minutes that night because Daniel came in after work.
Mm-hmm.
And
He was the first editor. No.
No.
was the
It
second
went
editor.
It went Luis, me, Daniel, and I know it's weird to remember, but because I remember when Daniel finished, me and him walked out to look at the sunrise together.
Nice. That's a romantic moment.
Yeah, it was
No,
kind of
so-
cute. So
so-
after that, that's when we woke. We went to sleep at like 5:30 or 6, and then we're like, we'll wake up at 6:30 and wake this guy up.
Yeah, you guys, because the editors, I would wake up intermittently, but it was them who worked through the night.
Really?
And I remember, I think like our first cut was that's another requirement. It has to be 8 minutes or less. Our first cut was I think 12 minutes, right? And then they brought it down to 10. And they brought it down to 9. And I woke up at the 9. It's good. You know what? I remember why they didn't let me see it, because I'm too hands on with the editing. In the sense that I shot stuff that I remember I wanted to be in the film. I don't want to cut it out because I shot it for a reason.
You gotta invest in it.
And I don't shoot with the mentality of editing. I'm not necessarily. I know how to edit. I like editing, but I don't consider myself an editor.
But I'm not a rapper.
But I'm not a rapper. So it was their strategic plan to not let me see anything until they had a cut.
Smart, Austin.
And I like that. I've been doing that ever since. To save time, because I was gonna fight with them about don't cut this out. So at the 9 minute cut, that's when they woke me up, and I remember they applied the black and white, and I fell in love with it. It was never thought about. It was never. I was like, they put it on playing around, like, let's just test it, see what it looks like, and I was like, dude, this looks great. Let's leave it black and white. Save time on coloring. We didn't have to color. We just had to do the contrast, mess with some coloring.
Lighting.
And Luis colored this film, right? I think.
Yeah, Luis brought us home.
Luis brought us home. So Luis, the DP, he knew what he shot. You know, he's a DP. He knew what he shot. He was editing too, and we made that choice. Like, let's leave it in black and white. And shout out to our composer, Eduardo Garcia.
Oh yeah, man.
He's this dude. He's amazing.
Yeah.
He wrote music. I guess he started kind of writing Friday when we told him what we got. We got Zombie. I think I told him what kind of vibes I wanted. Woke up at like 6 a.m. He had provided some stuff, but he came over. Once he delivered the music, like at 1 or 2 p.m., he came over to see how it would fit with the image. That was fucking perfect, man. It was great. I think we went for like some George Romero vibes, right? Because we're talking about zombies, and I consulted with Erik Sanchez. Erik at the time, Sanchez worked at a gas station, and his schedule was shit, man. He was hardly ever able to make it to shoots, including this one.
He's getting that money that.
Bread.
Yeah,
Gotta
but he came
stack
over that
bread.
Sunday. He came over Sunday when we were working in post.
Yes, I did.
So
And
you had a little.
I think I saw it when it was black and white. I was like, yeah, you should have just. I agree though. You should just leave it black and white.
Yeah.
And then like the colors at the end.
Do you want to talk about what you said when you saw the cut?
Oh yeah. When I saw the first cut, because I saw it freshly, I didn't even see anything behind the scenes.
The 8 minute cut, or which one did you see?
No, the whole thing. It was
Yeah,
already.
yeah.
It was already.
I think it
ready.
was already done. It was almost
Oh,
ready.
It was
We were just
almost ready.
messing
It
with
was
music
practically
and-
done, and then they were just adding the music. Once Eddie, because I think I got there at the same time Eddie got there,
Uh-huh.
and he added the music, and I was watching it just with fresh eyes. I haven't.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what like the story was about.
Right.
I had no idea what the hell was going on, and then I saw it. I was like, "We're gonna win something. Like maybe not third, second, but we're gonna win."
He
Fucking
I
win.
bet
prophesized it,
you
man.
de-stressed all these guys.
He
with that.
but he prophesized
it wasn't that they were
it, dude.
stressed. It's just like I don't know, if we're gonna win anything and this and that. Like, they were just kind of like happy with just finishing the movie.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was like, this shit's gonna fucking win something. Like, a huevo. Like,
Those were his exact words.
Ah,
yeah,
well.
I saw it. I was like, this shit's gonna fucking win.
Hell yeah.
It shows.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like,
and I mean, I'll always remember that because Erik was the first one that was like, "Yo, this shit's gonna win something. This shit's good." So that was
Bet you
pretty cool, man.
They needed that.
Yeah, man. We all drove. We finished the film. I don't know that we had any hiccups in post. It was we didn't have time for hiccups.
You guys didn't argue with each other a little bit more, like
I can't really say because the editors. It was like switching ships.
because I thought that's why you didn't show up.
No. Okay. No. So I don't know. No, we didn't, man. We definitely agreed on where the story was going.
That's good.
There wasn't a whole ton of cuts because again, it was shot in oneers.
The only issue was getting it down from 9 minutes to 8 minutes.
That was the big issue.
It was the biggest
A
issue
whole minute?
because we had to throw credits in there, and that was another requirement. Certain stuff had to be in the credits, and our level being us, we were like, we have to have the tower intro in there. So getting it down, I think we got it down to like 8:30, and then we're like, all right, we got it down to 8:30. We have to get it down to at least like 7 minutes and like 45 seconds to be able to put the rest of it in.
Yeah.
Even like if you watch the original cut, the credits literally just like they just fly by.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we had to do, but in editing, that was the toughest thing, was to get it from
a minute to cut a minute off.
no, like to cut it from. We had 9 minutes, and we kept watching it. We kept watching it. We're like, there's literally nothing we can cut out.
Yeah.
How do you go
And-
about that? Do you have to at some point
You
cut?
honestly, when it comes to that situation, you kind of just have to find frames here and there that you can get rid
little
of.
tiny frames?
Yeah, like,
bite-sized
thing that
stuff.
You know,
Like
all right,
2
let's
seconds,
take
3
off
seconds?
12 frames here. That gets rid of half a second.
That's insane.
You take another
Did
12
you guys
frames
ever
here.
get rid of a scene that you guys were very like, or even just a frame?
Yeah,
that you
well,
thought, like,
from the
oh, man.
beginning, there was a couple scenes that we did have to cut out. One where Alfredo was walking with Itzel's character. We completely cut that out for the competition.
So Alfredo's character kind of has this flirtation, or he thinks there's a flirtation in his character. thinks
within the
there's a-
zombie pop.
But the girl's kind of blowing him off. But they're very light and fun scenes that tie the film together. But we knew going in, we're
Yeah.
like, these scenes, if we don't meet time, we're gonna
These
cut
are gonna be
this.
the ones that cut.
We're gonna cut this out. We're gonna cut basically a ton with Itzel's character because she joined the cast later. Like, she joined the characters later.
By the way, that's one of my favorite lines in the whole film. When Alfredo asks Itzel about her arm, like what happened, and she's like, "Oh, I got bit" or something like that, and he's like, "Oh, that happened to my friend too. What happened to him? He died." And like he just keeps
A lot of
talking.
improv. A lot of improv with
Yeah.
this cast. There's a lot of improv.
But no, I mean, going back to you, Juan, when it comes to that, man, it's literally finding places where you can take. It's
Good
like
question.
It's like shaving the fat off of a steak
Okay.
without affecting the flavor.
Okay.
So
It's
it's
still
literally-
wanting to eat that piece.
exactly like you want to find that half second you can get rid of.
Mhm.
You want to find like that second you can get rid of here. Oh wait, there's a bit of a lag right before he delivers his line. We can get rid of that right there.
Mhm.
And just we literally went through that film like 20 times, doing that. Like, oh, let's trim this here. Okay, that takes a second off. Let's get that there.
So does it ruin the flow of like? So when you're editing like a movie that's like just tower based, like you have more time to do stuff like that. Do you still want it to feel like it's? How do you keep that smoothness like?
That's the tricky part. That's the tricky part because when you're editing, a regular classic film,
Mhm.
you don't want to get rid of that. You want it to be there for the intense, but for the 48, it's where can I trim that without affecting the flow.
Right.
So I mean, it is tough for really any editor, but when we had 3 guys looking at it, it was a lot easier doing that. But it's literally trimming the fat off a steak.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
That's a
Good
good
way
one.
to put it.
I like
yeah.
it.
I think it still was like a little over 8 minutes, right? Like 8
Nah.
and 7 seconds.
It was right on the frame.
Oh, it was
to be.
right.
It
8
had to be.
8 minutes exact.
0, 0, 0, 0.
Yeah. So to credit it, like talking about the editing too, like it also has to do with the director. When you're working on a 48, you have no choice. That's why the director's locked out of the room. I mean, in this case, because I will say, no, man, we need this shot in there. I think it's gonna story-wise.
It's your vision.
But in another film, like in another Tower 20 film, for instance, it depends on the director.
Mhm.
The director has to have their own flavor in there. They have to add their own flavor in there. This is we've done 2 48s. This first one, we always agreed there was gonna be we were gonna release an extended cut, director's cut. That's where I was gonna have my fun.
Mhm.
Because Luis shot some amazing stuff, man. Like that, a lot of amazing B-roll that I wanted in the film that would make the film.
Mhm.
We
funny thing about the extended cut, I don't know if Carlos remembers this, how he says we didn't let him see the first cut.
Yeah.
It was 12 minutes, right? We literally had all that. We had the cut. We copied it onto a new sequence, closed that sequence, and didn't even let him watch that sequence
Really.
until we got to the extended cut. And we're like, here, this is what we didn't show you. And then that's when he started messing with it.
Yeah, so truly that's how it was. But that was always the intention, was to release extended cuts. I think the extended cut was like an 11-minute cut.
All right. Would you say you're? And this is just a question, but would you say you're more of a controlling director, or are you more zen-like with your approach? And that's just a question.
I think it depends.
You should ask
for
everybody
both.
except him.
Yeah, that's probably is a question for everybody else because
What was it?
Like, did
Is-
you have
is
to
he
change
controlling
your-
or what? What was it?
Well, no. My real question is, did you have to change your approach towards film because this is a 48 and this is a shorter film than The ones you
I
guys
think-
usually make.
I think the way to approach a film, any film, and this will always be my philosophy on filmmaking, is you have to be in love with the story.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you really do have to be in love with the story. When you're in love with something or somebody, time will pass and you will still be in love with that person. And I think that's how you approach a film. So my philosophy is that, like, I don't know how I approach it. I just know that if I'm not in love with the story, I'm not going to make it.
Yeah.
And zombie really isn't my bag, guys. Like, horror films aren't my bag. Not because I don't like them. I'm just not good at them. It's not my thing. I'm not going to play off.
You're not good at them. It's just that's not what you write. You know?
I guess it's a preference thing,
yeah.
right? So when it comes to being controlling, or I think it's very collaborative. I try to treat it very collaboratively. I like to work with my actors. I like to get your take on something. If you want to try it, guys, on this podcast, you're gonna hear me talk about Scorsese a lot because he's my hero. But he said something on The Making of the Irishman recently that really taught me that I'm doing something right. I think I'm doing something right. He said, when I work with my actors and they want to try something, I'll go there with them. I'll let them try it.
Yep.
Even if I know I'm not going to use it, because it's a process. And you have to let them do that part too. You know?
That's facts.
Yeah, I feel you.
And
on
I
that
think
one.
I go there
'Cause
with
sometimes I like to flirt with other stuff.
Yeah.
But I know you like it the way you like it, but you gotta let me do my
Yeah.
thing just so I can
Yeah.
get it out.
And eventually sometimes you'll find a hybrid. Like,
Exactly.
yeah, I like what you did here. Let's cut that part out, but let's use that.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't know about it being controlling, but I know what I want.
Mm-hmm.
I think I try to have a perfect balance on set and in post of, let me get your take on it. This is my take. This is how I want it. Show me what you got, and I'll let you know if we'll use it or not. You know?
How does performance-wise affect you guys? Like, do you guys like?
No,
Are you
that
guys have to be on like a 10? Like, just get the performance out.
That helps
or-
a lot when that's possible. When you can give me a couple of takes, that's beautiful.
Mhm.
But when like in this 2-day challenge, there's a couple of them where I had just one scene to make magic,
Mhm.
Really?
which is
One
tough.
take.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. 'Cause
Yeah, 'cause
especially
that's
the one
true.
at the Tram, he was shooting a bunch of B-roll about all us smoking a cigarette. But when it was my time to, no spoilers, I show up, I'm still
Right,
alive.
right.
What do you mean no spoilers?
And it's been like 2 years.
All right, but yeah.
The Tram on the Tower YouTube page.
But yeah, that last scene was the last scene. We could hear the. So I was like, all right, gotta make some magic here.
Mhm.
And it was beautiful, but just those are like the hard parts.
Yeah.
Really?
I think like Carlos makes it real easy, but I think that's also what I don't like sometimes. Is I'll only do like 1 or 2 takes. I'm like, no, let me go at one more. He's like, no,
Yeah.
we got what we want. Like,
Yeah.
that's it. And I'm like,
It's
oh, I
it's
feel
like
I
self
could've
it's
done
like
something different.
self-sabotage, man. Because
you
If
gotta-
we have time, he'll let me though.
Yeah.
But also, like, he knows, like how he said, he knows what he wants.
Exactly. Like, so if he's saying that,
if he's saying like, okay, we got what we want,
Yeah.
then it makes me feel better
Exactly.
too. Even though I still felt like, maybe I could have done something
Yeah.
different. or
I'm
something
with you on that.
better,
I feel you.
But you know,
it just
it's
time,
like
time.
it's a little bit of my own self-sabotage. Once I know we have the take I want, and I think that's a
But I'm
smooth.
with you on
It's
that,
a good
100%.
transition into post-production because I'll fight the biggest thing I fight with my editor on. Austin's my main editor. I usually mostly work with him, and the biggest thing I fight with him on is he gives me cut. So the way I approach post, and I think it's just this way. The way we approach post, give me a mic. Give Austin a mic. The way we
Yeah, he wants
approach
to
post, the
defend
way
himself.
we approach post is I tell Austin, give me a cut, give me the first assembly cut, and then I'll come in and watch it and I'll start messing with stuff.
Right.
The biggest argument we have is I tell him, we had a take where she did this. We had a take where he moved his head up, or where he delivered this line this way. Where is it? Oh, it didn't work for the cut, man. For continuity, it didn't work. I don't care. I want the take. Where's my take? And usually the way it works, for the most part with directors, is they sit and they watch their dailies.
I'm fascinated with that process. I'm so fascinated.
They sit and they watch their dailies, and Austin doesn't let me do that because he knows that I'm going to choose the take that I really want.
Right.
The way
Like, for
but he's
example,
just-
like, let me put it this way. When he does that, Edge of Desire, he practically cut without even, like, being in there. Because he was like, from this time code to this time code, I want this one.
Yep.
This time code
Yep.
to this time code, I want that one.
It was one of the only films I chose my dailies. So you look at the footage, you tell the editor, this is the take I want, this is the take I want, this is the take I want. Austin hasn't let me do that in a very long time because his concern, an editor's concern, is to work with the flow of the cuts. A director's concern is to work with the flow of the performance and the story.
And don't get me wrong. I
Yeah,
mean,
so that's
like,
that's
as in-
so
That's
tricky.
crazy.
like, don't get me wrong. Like, as an editor, we still look at performance, but it's a matter of what works. It's where's that middle ground of the performance?
I remember
with the continuity?
we sat and we watched.
Yeah, I feel you in that.
I screened The Departed for him.
But also, I
I
also
screened.
feel.
I screened.
No,
The
don't get me
Departed-
wrong. I love the film,
I
but
screened The
that
Departed
one
for
pissed
him.
me off.
But Thelma Schoonmaker,
Yeah, that last scene though.
Scorsese's editor, she won an Oscar for that. He
How?
won an Oscar.
How?
It pissed him off because it jumps. It's almost jump cutty, where some stuff doesn't flow in terms of jump cuts. And I told him it's because of the performance. It's because I'm sure Scorsese sat and was like, he did the best performance here. I want this take in the film. And Thelma was
I
like,
gotta lean more on that.
He's not
I feel you. I feel you. I
As an
feel you.
actor, like I know I'll do like 3 or 4 takes, and I see the one that you guys picked, and I'm like, that wasn't the best one.
I'm with
Damn
and
it.
you.
it's a matter of compromise.
with
It's a
you.
matter
At
of
least in
compromise.
my opinion, sometimes.
Yeah.
No, yeah,
But I know you guys always do what's best.
Exactly,
though. What's
exactly.
best for
I
the
have to
film.
compromise sometimes because you also don't want
It's so real.
you also don't want a film that jump cuts all over the place. You want something that works.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And
no,
I mean,
yeah, for sure.
to be honest, that's probably one of the main arguments I have with him is he wants these performances. I'm like, all right, you want that performance,
Yeah.
but let's not look at that. Let's look at the stuff that surrounds it.
It's a
The
matter of
cuts
continuity.
that the other performances don't match up with
For
this
instance,
one.
give him an example. Erik, we use a lot for films. So Erik will be delivering this big monologue that I like, and in the process, he's drinking a cup. He's drinking from a cup. So when
Oh,
he's
dude, you
delivering
pissed
this-
me off in Depth
so,
of
so
Field.
when he delivers this performance, he might make a choice as an actor to pick up the cup, drink from it for dramatic effect, and I like that. But in the cut, he didn't pick up the cup on the last take, and that's
Continuity.
gonna affect the edit.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So he'll tell me, dude, his arm isn't up in this one. We can't use that one, and I say no,
That's what
but
you
that's
need.
the best performance, and I fucking want it.
His point, for sure.
But then that's where the arguments come in because
Yeah.
let's go based off that example. If he goes, on a coverage shot and you have your arm up here,
Right.
and we want to cut to a wide where, say, the person you're bouncing off of has a great monologue and you're like leaning back.
Already, yeah.
So I mean, there's some stuff that I'll be like, all right, dude, fuck it, we'll put it in because
Yeah.
it doesn't work, but it's not noticeable.
Yeah.
But then there's some where it's so noticeable, and that's where we really have the
You
biggest
can't use
arguments
it.
on. Because again, like I get he wants to use that take, but it's what are the cuts on
All
the
that
other sides
stuff,
of it?
all
that
that
has to-
stuff, you have to develop with your editor. And I know directors that work with a different editor on each film. I know directors that edit their own films. I don't know how they do it, man. I don't know how they do it because you have to develop that shorthand with your editor. Where Austin and I have a shorthand. He knows what I like. He knows what I'm gonna want. And I know I can trust him with my films. And we know editors, we know directors that don't trust anybody with their edits. We know them. And you have to have this foundation of the technical side of things. You have to have this foundation before you start building your stylistic approach of how you're going to approach each film.
And how do you maintain style, but also
Damn, look at this guy too.
how do you how do you maintain your style, but still like trust somebody to like?
I think it's just like the collaboration between the
Yeah.
two.
Them knowing
Because
each other.
like I know what he wants already. Like literally, there's times where I'll get his film like the footage, and I'll be like, dude, don't even fucking like tell me anything. I know what you want. Like
Yeah, legit.
I think when we were editing, I co-edited something with somebody recently, and it was one of your films, and they were like, well, what do you think Carlos wants? I was like, don't worry, like I know what he wants. And like I would cut it up, and they're
You know
like,
what's funny?
So yours
Oh,
John
okay.
Williams, basically, is what you're telling me.
yeah, I guess.
Your Carlos is John.
Maybe it
Williams,
was,
basically.
what's funny, I don't know, but
He's my Thelma, man. He's the Thelma
Nice.
of Scorsese because like
Combo right there.
because
Call Me a Girl?
Thelma's
Mhm.
been working with Scorsese since their college days.
Oh
since
wow.
NYU.
Oh wow.
They've known each other, and that was me and Austin. Like, but it's tough because sometimes I can't work with him as my editor for stylistic purpose. I'm also smart in the way.
yeah,
I'm
like
sounding
for
like an
example,
asshole.
music videos. I've handed off each music video. He's offered it to me first time both, but I really don't have a style for music videos. I don't know what it is, but like even in the piano scene for Depth of Field, I handed that off to Daniel as well.
They co-edited Depth
Yeah.
of Field, so it's.
feel you.
I try to be smart. I'm not smart. I'm trying to be smart in the sense that just like DPs. Erik Sanchez has been my DP for most of my films, but there's been a couple films where I say, "Hey, man, I think this is gonna work better with this guy. For this style of this film, I think we got to go with this guy." For editing too, like the music videos, Daniel has a very good ear for, and a very good eye for music videos and music in general. So you have to play those strengths too, and it's a matter of collaboration, like Austin says, but it's also a matter of like get the technical stuff out of the way, because once you have the technical stuff in place, you can be artistic and stylistic and stuff like that. But
You trying to say
So
more
is
artistic?
there ever like, do you ever feel like there's a battle between like, because it's a short amount of time and you gotta like just make the movie you make and such and use what you
yeah,
have to
you
use.
have to do that for 48. So you have to compromise.
Is there still room for expression?
I think more than anything, there has to be that trust there.
Mm-hmm.
Because like he says, there's some
absolutely right.
directors that don't trust some editors, but in a 48, as a director, you have to have that trust in your editor to get that done.
I don't know. Are you guys saying that because you guys already did it the second time and won more awards? Because the first time, how was that? Like,
No, the first you have to have a trust before. Look, we know we know teams and production companies that formed out of the 48. Like they just randomly got on Facebook and were like, "Hey, we need a team. Who wants to be part of our team for the 48?" I admire them, man, because that's probably tougher than what we did. They didn't know, they were strangers to each other.
Whoa.
So
Yeah, like we were very familiar with each other. Like even the cast, like I
Interesting.
said, we all knew each other. Like
shout out to those motherfuckers.
and I almost recommend to take our approach. I can't speak for them. I don't know how it went for them. But I almost recommend to take our approach because you have to know each other's strengths. You have to trust each other, man. The thing about film is like Erik as my actor and Austin as my editor. I haven't had the pleasure to work with Alfredo one-on-one as a lead. I've worked with him one-on-one on his character, but I haven't had the pleasure to do that, so I don't know how that might go. But I know Alfredo trusts me, and I trust him for whatever the role is, right? But I don't have to worry about Erik trusting my choice, and he doesn't have to worry about me trusting his choice. I always mention, like, Eric's the De Niro to my Scorsese. And with Austin...
Oh, wow, so what you're trying to say is you're just waiting for a Leo to come in?
Oh, no, I
He has the Leo.
I have my Leo. He knows. They know. It's Damien. Damien's the Leo to my Scorsese.
okay.
You know? By the way, they just announced that Leo and De Niro will be working together on the next Scorsese film.
Ooh, nice.
Flowers of the
Hey,
Killer Moon.
How fitting is it that they
Flowers.
just worked on a film together?
Yeah.
And then that's happening.
Flowers
Life
of the,
imitates art.
Flowers of the Killer Moon is
Oh, really?
Scorsese's next movie. Leo and De Niro are going to be acting
Nice.
against, and De Niro's going to be a villain. Just
Oh,
fun
interesting.
fact. But anyways,
Food for thought for you too, man. I want to be a villain.
all right. Read the script I just gave you.
Yeah.
Anyways, but it's trust, man. It's trust. Like if they don't trust me, I can't work. We're not gonna have a good time working on set with each other.
Mhm.
We're not. It's just not gonna happen.
Does that ever happen?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's times.
Bring it back to this guy. What do you think of this guy?
Carlos?
Because I know you work with other people.
You're not gonna hurt my feelings,
acting
Fredo.
right
Like
now.
what's been your
Well,
impressions? Like I don't.
Putting in work
I've
right
had
now.
actors that
Yeah.
have told me straight up, like I don't fucking like your approach, man.
Really?
Like, I've had that happen.
Yeah. No, definitely. Carlos, like, awesome director. Like, probably one of my favorites for sure. Like,
Do you say like he's controlling, or what type of director do you need?
nah. He always gives me liberty. Like, he always gives us all liberty. Like, just he lets us be ourselves. I think. Like, he kind of always picks out the perfect people for each part.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like for example, like only Alexis could have done like the zombie. I feel
So you're a casting
like
director too.
and like
Well, you're forced to be. I don't think we've ever had a casting director in Tower, right?
So
So
you
every
are
director
forced.
has to communicate with their producer. Like, I want this guy, I want this guy, I want this guy, or this
Yeah.
girl, this girl, this girl. You know?
yeah, and definitely like Carlos has given me opportunities, like to play some roles that were almost like if I was playing myself.
Even in
You
this
know what I
2-day
mean?
challenge.
So,
And I think we've been going in waves in Tower. I've been. Our Erik, you're director too. You've been directing
Wavy.
Tower. You've been directing. You're about to direct. He's about to direct.
Hello.
Castro's directed.
What? We're waiting for you to bring something.
The big O.
I'm waiting for me too, you know?
Leo is waiting for
But
I'm just going to wake up one day with a script and be like, today.
I think we've brought it up, and I think you can attest to this more than anything, Castro, is that we've picked people that are perfect for that role because of their personalities, and sometimes that's a mistake because then people get typecast and they start getting casted for the same role. That's never my intention. That's why for Castro's expressed to me like, hey man, I love working with you. I love working on your films, but I want to do something fresh. I want to do something different. And I respect that. I admire that because that challenges me as a writer to write something for him that's different. With Alfredo, I remember he had to do this something for a class, and he reached out to me. He needed to write something, right?
Yep.
And
It
I
was for
wrote.
my voice and movement class.
You need to do a
I
monologue,
needed
right?
a monologue, yeah.
And I think you sent one to me. He's like, hey, how do you think I should approach this? And I was like, let me just write one for you.
Yeah, I was
Let me
like, did you
write
write it?
Yeah,
No,
he-
I
he
wrote a monologue.
for
I wrote a
me.
monologue for him to perform. And it was one of the best, like one of my favorite monologues I've ever written. I still want to
Really?
use that in a movie somewhere. Like I don't know
Definitely. Have you
what.
recorded it?
No, I haven't recorded I haven't recorded because actually my professor recorded us doing it in
That's good for a
class.
resume,
Cool.
dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but I need
So-
to record doing it.
Yeah.
But I remember writing something for him that was totally different than something he's ever done before.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a challenge, but I wanted to do that. Like it starts getting your creative juices flowing.
And
to
I had
like,
fun with it.
Yeah.
And my professor loved it too because I showed it to my professor because she had to okay it.
Right.
And she read it and she cut out like a couple little
Right.
parts, but she was like, "Oh yeah, I love this. Like,
Yeah,
go
yeah.
ahead, like
Is
do
it
it."
like a minute, 5 minutes? Or?
It's about like a minute
It's
and
like a
a
minute
half.
and a half. Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Nice.
But I try to do that. I try to. I mean, look, if there's no movement, if there's no growth, if I'm gonna be writing the same roles for people 10 years from now, then I'm not
So
gonna
be it.
grow, man. I'm not gonna.
No, you
There's
definitely
like-
as an actor want to like explore with different characters
Yeah,
and
yeah.
different like ways of changing up your thoughts and
Yeah.
stuff as an actor because sometimes you have to think differently when you're doing a different role, like
Mhm.
you really have to get into it.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's one thing to act about, like, being sad about some tragic event, but when you're like a zombie film, like, I assume you would like put yourself in it. Yeah, like,
Dude, I took inspiration from I Am Legend, dude. I thought
really.
it was Will
Oh,
Smith, yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
For sure.
Let's talk about the reception. So, we had a week to live with. Are they gonna show it? Are we gonna get an award?
Yeah.
And they didn't announce. So from the Sunday we turned it in, the following Saturday was the award ceremony at the Plaza Theater, which was amazing because
Right away.
by we I mean everybody else because I didn't go. I
Oh,
couldn't go.
man,
I couldn't
true,
go.
but we got you on FaceTime afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was my godson's birthday. We went to go visit him out of town. We had made our plans before we knew that's when the ceremony was gonna be. So I couldn't go. Austin went. Erik didn't go. It was Austin, Castro, Alfredo, Paola, Hitzel, Josh, and Luis, I believe. So that everybody
I
else
wasn't
kinda
gonna go, man, but I couldn't let Austin down, man.
Yeah,
I just
it's because you know what?
nerves.
Yeah, yeah.
Just
It
the
was.
nerves
It's
alone.
because
I was
look.
super excited to see
You
all the other
excited?
films though.
Hell yeah.
Props to the El Paso Film Commission because they roll
All the
out the red
films are-
carpet, man. They roll out the red carpet. It makes you feel like you're at an important event. Like you're.
Really.
Awesome event.
It feels
Awesome.
like
If
a
you've never
legit
been, you
screening.
have to go. You have
I just
to.
didn't want to let anybody down. That's why.
I just feel like the Plaza Theater is the Chinese theater to El Paso.
Yeah.
Like it's our
For
Chinese
sure.
theater. It's
Yeah.
the place to premiere. It's the place to show your films. Like that's your dream that you want to kind of do, you know.
For sure.
So we were. I think it was something over 30 teams that signed up, and we were blessed enough to win the audience award for the Tram, which showed us a lot, man. Like
It's the only one that makes sense, actually. What?
Hey, man, it's a lot of people
No, yeah,
submitted, and
Really good
props to
films.
them.
Really good films in there.
But the truth of the matter is, a lot of them just didn't feel right. You know, it just felt off, and
Some of them that were
But
late,
the
that were
quality
really good.
But don't
yeah,
get me
one
wrong,
of
the
late
quality
ones
from.
that didn't
food
make
truck,
it. The
the-
food truck won the Uber.
That
Oh,
was
dude,
late.
Fuber was
It
great.
late.
The Uber was one of my favorite ones, man.
But like, I think I've told Drew this, and I've told anybody I talked to, like, just the difference from the first year when the Tram came out to this year. Everybody's film
Yeah, it grew
was
quick.
really stepped up,
Yeah.
which made me happy because just showing that El Paso's growing film wise. So
Thanks to Drew, for sure.
yeah, I mean, look, I'm not gonna say it was us, because it wasn't, but I remember thinking in this 48, this year's 48, people used a lot of locations, people used bigger casts, like. We did that our first year being stupid because we shouldn't have done that. We should have been smarter. It would have saved us a lot of time and headaches. But I don't know. I feel like people saw what we did and were a little encouraged. We're like, hey, man, they did
that
pretty
all that in one
good
day.
in 2 days, you know?
2 days, yeah.
So that felt good. Austin FaceTimed me when we won the award, and they were walking down from the stage. And
What you think the first when you texted?
I was excited. Sandra and I were in Dallas, and I think we're kind of just getting ready for bed. It was pretty late. Dallas is an hour ahead, so we're already kind of just hanging out, getting ready for bed. And then Austin texted me, or you called me. I think you called me. We won audience award. We won audience award. I was like, oh, so we're all celebrating. So we're all happy. We got the plaque. What's cool about the plaque is Tower Productions is the first name on that plaque and will be henceforth because
And
the plaque is passed on to the next audience award winner.
yeah,
you know.
back to back
And
to back.
We ain't talking about, you know what's funny today, but we got that again this year. And,
Yeah.
and we'll talk about that when it comes to that episode. But
For sure.
that was the ceremony, guys. I don't know if you guys were there. Did you guys experience anything that I didn't? I mean, I don't know if you guys want to talk about that.
I wasn't born yet, so I didn't exist.
I was nervous. I was really nervous because I remember Austin was just he was representing all of us, and you can see Austin just like, yo, this has to win something. It's so good.
Like we were all so like anxious.
Yeah,
to
we were all
see,
anxious,
like,
man.
Yeah.
Like, and I remember they called third, and we were like,
I wanted to win
They
because of
called
these guys. I just want to
second.
win because of these guys.
and then we're like, nah. And they called first, and we're like, oh, we didn't win anything. Like, oh hell no. I remember we were like all upset. We are like, well, like it's okay. Like we'll be back next year. And then they were like, oh, but the audience
favorite,
award,
yeah.
Tower Productions, and we went off because like.
Yeah, the only one that makes it.
Like
Yeah,
I think when
yeah.
they called it, I couldn't even like. I didn't believe it.
All of us like
Yeah, we
kinda
were like-
jumped up
I
and
was
like
looking
looked
at
at
you,
each other
dude.
like no way.
Dude, like I think it's
like,
funny. Like I didn't. I didn't feel stressed out. I didn't feel worried. But Castro keeps telling me, and has been telling me since that day, that I look like
Oh, you were a nervous wreck.
yeah, like
Yeah.
that I looked
Trust.
horrible, and I was like, what?
But it's because it was all on you, dude.
If you haven't,
That's a
no,
good-
but if you haven't seen this by now, not because I want. Erik Sanchez likes to say that I'm the face of Tower for some godforsaken reason. Yeah, like you're like, oh, you're the spokesperson, dude. Like we're not saying shit. You're the one that's in. Yeah,
But
I
you
do
are
the
no?
real work.
You
Like,
are in Austin. No, you
so yeah, well, no, but
you guys are
Austin,
top dogs.
Austin.
At least when I was trying to get into
No,
Tower,
but
like
Austin doesn't like
that was
that
the face
part,
I
and
saw.
that's fair. Like to talk in public and to be the spokesperson. Austin, what?
oh no, I was saying like when I was trying to get into Tower and like I didn't know like who to talk to. Like you were the first face I saw, and then they just said Tower, and I'm like I don't really know his name, but they said Tower.
That's Tower.
Well, I'm like,
And I
Torre.
I'm gonna go there. You
Hey,
know?
Tower guy.
No, that's fair.
That
I mean,
tower I'm conquering.
but whoa, baby.
Hey.
But that's fair. I
Only
just
in the
mean
mornings.
the sense that
You're definitely more
I've
scary.
been kind of pushed to be that guy, so I don't mind doing it. I love doing it. I love talking about the great things we've done. But I wasn't that for this ceremony because I wasn't there. So Austin had to like be that part and thank everybody when we won the
Yeah,
award and
man.
like
You
fucking
stepped up,
be in
for sure.
charge and not that he's not. I mean he's in charge, but
What was that? Can you repeat that?
publicly you had to be in charge. What? Shut up.
I don't think the mic cut it.
But no. So yeah, I think that was probably the tough. That's probably why he seemed like a nervous wreck.
Yeah,
he
no,
had
for
to
sure.
give the thank yous, and hey, for crying out loud, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck forgot to thank Kevin Smith for Goodwill
Oh
Hunting.
yeah.
because they were nervous, and
Yeah.
Kevin Smith was in charge of like making that project for them, basically. So it happens, man. Like you're a nervous wreck, and you're like
They were in Jay and Silent Bob too. So
they were. So yeah, I mean, hey, props to Austin and everybody that went, man.
Yeah, for
I think
sure.
we got great reception. We got great reception for the extended cut. So I think that was great.
So wow, anything else you guys want to add to it? Like other than that, like what did you guys like learn from it? What did you guys regret from it? Like anything of the sorts?
Wait,
I don't-
can I ask a quick thing? Like, I guess, what are your top tips for people who are gonna be going into a 48?
Ooh, there you go.
And all that, because I mean,
director.
it's definitely a different process from making any other film. Like if you're making a film, you think like, okay, we'll shoot on this day and then we'll shoot on this day, but for a 48, it's a different like kind of ball game. So what's the top tips, I guess, from all you guys, actors, directors, editors?
Don't do what we did.
Look, I'll
Well, first
let
of all,
Cast talk about cast. I'll let Austin talk about producing and scheduling and whatnot. I'll talk about directing. Work with people and
say
like, and have a good time with on set, and have a crew that you're gonna have a good time with on set, man, because it's ruckus and
Goes all the way through, like not just one day and then you just don't see.
yeah,
them.
that's
Like,
very
you have to do
consistent.
the whole
Committed.
way.
Yeah, and
all
it's-
the way.
Everybody knows that everybody gets cranky when you don't get sleep.
Exactly.
And you
That's what
don't
I'm saying.
sleep that weekend at all.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure you work with people you can get along with, people you can handle.
Yeah.
I
Make
mean,
sure you eat, and if it's during the day, wear sunblock.
oh, poor Paola, man.
Poor
I forgot
Paola,
about
man.
that. Paola
yeah.
came out like red.
Shout out to
Feeling
Paola.
and
She was a
everything.
trooper, man. She's a trooper. But no, definitely, as a director, like, you have to surround yourself with a great crew, because though I had to do the producing side of things too with Austin to make sure set was running good, I was very focused on my actors. I was very focused on developing these characters. Even though we had a very limited time to develop these characters, they did great because we were able to collaborate. So if you have the luxury of picking your cast, directors,
that is a luxury. It's true.
if you have the luxury of picking your cast, pick people you love working with. Pick people have strengths that you can work, and everybody has weaknesses, right? They know my weaknesses as a director, so they have to be on board with those weaknesses too.
Yeah, you know my weaknesses too, right?
Yeah, you
You
get
have to have
hungry.
snacks for Erik on set.
Have
Hey
snacks
man, I
and
turned into
towels.
Betty White. All right, let me know.
We've been getting him a trailer for I don't know how long.
Oh no, it's in use right now.
Oh, it's in use,
Dude, I'm
yeah.
comfortable
Yeah.
with just a chair. If you guys give me.
No, but just work with those kinds of people, man.
No,
Work with
you know what,
people
dude?
that you trust.
Favreau's using it right now on Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Favreau's on vacation right now.
No,
No,
they
he's
started-
back on set. He's back on set for season 2.
Yeah,
of Mandalorian.
So now he's got it- for
Favreau
how
has a
long?
trailer right now.
For how long?
A couple more months.
Yeah.
And then I think
I'm
it's
gonna put it.
reserved
Right,
after
I'm gonna
that.
log it in. All right.
And
No,
then I
but
think
what-
DiCaprio has it for that.
Yeah. Work with people you trust, man. Work with people you
Yeah,
trust
yeah,
for
for
your,
sure.
for your films, for sure. In terms of producing side of things, do you want to...
For a
I
48
guess just to list them off real quick, you want to make sure you have your cast locked down before.
first, yeah.
Have a couple general locations locked down.
for sure.
Obviously you're not going to use them all, but you want locations locked down where, depending on the genre you get, because I think that's how most 48s work, right? You don't even know the genre, so you want to know
Which is the tough
when
part,
you
that.
go into the writing what places you have available to you. And I wouldn't recommend this. I know some people do, is having scripts pre-written. It's never worked for us. I feel like pre-writing scripts just makes the stories more awkward because
You're trying to include.
you're trying to incorporate the rules
to force
into the
genre.
pre-written script.
I'm trying to force genre.
If you manage your time properly, you have time to write a script. I know there was a couple teams out there that I guess did improv because we would talk about the film and the script. Someone would be like, "Wait, you had a script?" So
yeah, I mean it's it happened.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, all the films are great, but some people don't go in with the script, and that can really throw everything off. But yeah, I mean, just allot yourself for time for your writing. Have everything ready beforehand. I think we spent all day Friday. No, not this one. The most recent one, like you said, we learned stuff from year one. But you want to spend the day before getting stuff ready at your home base. You want to make sure.
get better at it.
Yeah.
Get better at it because I think if you want to be part of a 48, I think you have to do it twice in a row. I think you should do it twice in a row because you're gonna learn from your first one. We learned from our first
Yeah,
one.
you
man.
learned so much.
We learned what not to do on the second one around and what to do.
Yeah.
We repeated the formula. We locked down our cast ahead of time. We locked down our locations ahead
We
of time.
locked down probably like 10 locations.
Yeah.
Well, the location that we
Right,
got,
right.
Rock
Well, we'll talk
House.
about that on that episode.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, we locked down a lot of that stuff ahead of time. We repeated that formula. We had a crew meeting.
That's right. We did do that
couple
both
weeks-
times around.
Yeah, a couple weeks before we got into it to explain the rules and all that. So you learn a lot. I'd say if just for the hell of it, just for experience, do a 48 twice in a row, and you're gonna learn a lot as a filmmaker.
Yeah.
I really think.
I
you
really
are.
do.
yeah.
You guys cast?
Yeah, definitely cast.
For me as an actor, I think you have to go into it understanding that you can't have a bunch of takes like
Yeah,
all
I
actors.
think that's the hardest thing.
Yeah, because as an actor, I mean,
as
there's
an
so
actor-
much going behind the scenes, but as an actor,
You always want like all the takes until you get that good take, but on the 48, you gotta understand you have 1, 2, max 3,
yeah.
and that's it. So bring your A game right away.
Yeah, for sure. That's the number one key. I mean, for a 2-day challenge, get ready to make magic or try to make magic in one take.
Speaking of magic,
That's it, I
I
mean-
would love to wrap that up right there. I think that's a good place to end it. Thank you for De La O for that awesome question,
Yep.
man. He tied
The
it
big
up.
O.
But
The big
speaking
O.
of questions,
But speaking of questions, I'm gonna bring you some more questions along your way. This time we're not. I'm gonna throw you guys for a surprise. We're not doing trivia.
What?
It's a little
Oh,
different.
man.
It's a
No,
little
no.
different.
it's with good reason. It's with good reason. We have.
Yes, that's the real.
We've got.
competition.
Oh, quick shout out, Alfredo
I'm leaving
here.
the
My leg?
podcast.
Alfredo Sanchez is the 2019 Southwest Regional Arm Wrestling Champion. For the right arm.
This
right?
happened
Right arm.
recently for the right arm, not the left.
Yeah,
I still
yeah,
gotta work that
man.
one out, but
Yeah, but jeez.
Dang.
No, but this isn't his first award. He has many awards, many first places. So shout out to him. He just won this.
congrats, man.
Yeah, congrats for
There's a
this,
video.
Alfredo.
You should
'cause
put like play a little video of it. I don't know if you
you
want to,
can
but
always-
on his
he's
Instagram.
crazy, man. He's crazy.
on his Facebook.
Yeah, do all the plugs.
What's
here.
that? What's that?
It's right here.
Facebook Alfredo Sanchez,
Yes.
Instagram Mr. Sanch55.
What's that Stallone movie with the
Over the top.
Over the Top?
You
That's what
already
you remind me
know.
of, man.
Always going over the top.
So Alfredo, shout out.
But well, in Texas, top 5 still. I haven't gone for a placement in Texas.
That's
this
not
was
bad.
This was in New Mexico actually. This was my last tournament of the year. I had maybe like 6 or 7 this year. So next year I'm gonna start lining them up. Definitely going for that number 1 spot in the
I like the
220
confidence.
for Texas. So
Nice.
yeah.
Shout out to him. So he won that.
Thank you.
The reason we're not having trivia is because what's pretty great. I didn't know Juan did this, so Juan, shout out. But we have audience questions. We do.
audience questions. I decided we tried something a little.
Yeah,
different
yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff. And there's some really good questions up here, so you'll see.
Nervous now.
Oh shit.
So I think these questions, we should all do them. We should.
Yeah,
unless
yeah.
We all have
Everybody in the
even if
room.
It's not an actor question, right? Or whatever.
Yeah.
So if you guys are ready for these questions, I'm gonna give the little shout outs to people, of course.
The plaque was like, fuck this.
It doesn't agree. It doesn't agree. Okay, here's one. This one comes from that_TV_addict on Instagram. This is favorite part of the process: development, production, or post. You want to start it off, Eric?
Obviously, as an actor, the development.
Production. Why production?
Production, because that's where the real action starts.
Really?
Happens.
Our
That's what you
action
get to
was in
see.
development.
That's fair.
Your, like what you imagine in your head, what you wrote. Take place live.
Nice. Anyone else?
I mean, I'm not just saying it because. Wait, is it like? Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I'm just making sure. Man.
Answer the question.
I'm not just saying because I'm an editor, but I prefer post more than anything because, in reality, that's where you see it all come together. Like, honestly, my favorite part of editing is when you have the final cut and you throw the score in.
Ooh.
Oh.
Because it's literally the last pieces coming together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
That's
that's
soul.
my favorite part of the whole process, yeah.
So poetic, dude.
Nice.
It's true.
The Lao?
Oh man, for
No, rest for sure.
For me, it's definitely production, just because I mean, like, I feel like a painter doesn't like the painting once it's done. He likes the process and kind of getting his hands dirty in it and all that.
Nice.
Just, I think everybody's watched films, but being behind the camera and making it happen it's a completely different experience. And I mean, for me, it's the most rewarding. So yeah.
Feel you.
Yeah.
I think I'd have to say post, just because like that's when you that's when you like reap the rewards for
Yeah,
me. Like
that's
where
good.
you
Yeah,
see
ooh.
all the hard work that
That's
nobody
good.
really saw. Like you see it up there.
That's good.
Giving props to the behind the scenes guys. Me, it's the production for sure. Getting your hands dirty, trying to make some magic. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of being an artist, taking a risk.
I've been on development for this whole year, so it's a little different for me, but I've actually learned to like fall in love with development, because now like when you get those eureka moments, like when you're stuck and you're like, yo, yes, then this can happen, and then oh my god, I found that scene that can like
I call those moments like when I tell Austin Eric, like, hey, I cracked it, I cracked it,
Yeah.
I found it, I cracked it. So yeah, I think development's fun.
Let's
Nice,
go, Jerry.
nice.
I mean, for me, production, because I get to see. Usually, I write my own stuff, so I get to see where the rubber meets the road. But more than that, I get to see if people are excited, to make this happen. I think that's my biggest flaw is like I if I'm not seeing people that are into it, it bums me out, man. It throws me off.
Yeah.
So it throws me off, because I that's what I love about production is whatever capacity, whoever I'm collaborating with, whether it be a DP, an actor, the gaffer, grips, anybody that I'm collaborating with, I see their face and I see if they're happy to be there, and that excites me. That boosts me up for the directing. So I think that's my favorite part, for the good and the bad. It could go both ways, right? But the good, when everybody's happy to make this project come to life, you're gonna see me on the top of that mountain. Like, you're gonna see me the most happy. You're gonna see me the most motivated, because it's my job as a director to make sure everybody's motivated, everybody's happy to be on set, everybody that the vibe on set is ready to go, so that it reflects in front of the camera.
Nice.
So production, for sure.
Nice.
Very true.
All right, next question. This is from literally Myra. What is the ratio between luck? Yeah, she's a friend. Luck and hard work that you need to make it. What's the ratio between luck and hard work? I'm guessing she's asking like, which one do you find yourself?
I
Like,
mean, the luck part is, I guess, what, windy days and stuff like that.
I don't know either, sir. That's what we're asking.
That's what Myra's asking.
I know. That's what Myra's asking.
I guess that's a director.
Well, for actors too, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I think for me, you definitely need a little bit of luck to go your way sometimes, but you can't overlook hard work.
No.
Ever. And I feel like you always have to put in the work to see the results, because you can't just expect to see the results every time. That's not going to happen.
Right.
I agree.
Oh well, you guys were talking about it. I don't know if we got that on mic, but when you guys got like some roles for for the look, you were talking. Would you say that was both luck and hard work, because you put hard work in that little film, but then the luck came in through somebody else seeing it, recommending it to somebody else, and then that landing you a role, right?
It's a perfect way to go.
I might have just answered it for you, but my bad.
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes
So,
it's
you
luck.
know,
Sometimes it's
A little bit of both. I would say a
an
little
after
bit of
class
both.
project. that
Well,
turns into
here's
something
the
more.
thing about it. You can't have a perfect combination because you don't know when the luck's gonna come.
True.
Yeah.
You know, so
You
like
have
I
to
agree
know.
with Fredo. You have to put in the hard work regardless,
Mhm.
and hope that that extra 10% comes through. But I think if you put in that 90%, you know, that work.
So it's 90-10 then. That's what you're
Yeah, I
saying.
think so. I think it's
Let it open doors for you.
Well,
All right, here's another question. This is from somebody who has already asked the question, so I won't repeat their username.
Yeah.
Okay, this is from that_TV_addict. This is how do you get past writer's block or creative lulls?
Man.
Eric's on camera.
Oh, I'm intrigued.
When I get writer's block, I start to drink. So.
Legitimately, he does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people do
Really?
that.
He drinks.
People
I'm
do
on
that.
that vibe.
Like it loosens you up a bit, and
Yeah.
then like
Yeah, it does.
sometimes
Oh.
like the process is like write it down when you're drinking, or it depends, because then like I don't know, like the story starts to like, you know, open gates.
Okay.
I don't know. That's what I do to get rid of writer's block. So
Here's the better question. What happens when it doesn't work?
then you just, regardless, you have a good time, you're drinking. So
I love that follow-up answer.
I personally step away from it. I think when you get writer's block.
Do you start writing about something else, or is just writer's block on that?
Well, it depends. I mean,
I've done that.
yeah, I have.
Because then, I mean, you lose your tracks there.
I think it goes
True,
back to
also.
yeah, that's fair.
Also.
But for
Yeah.
me, it goes back to how in love are you with that story.
Mm.
I think if you're in love with it, man, it's gonna come naturally. Like you want to know how that story ends.
Oh.
So it kind of like motivates you to like, what's next, you know?
Yeah.
But when there's writer's block, it's not because you're not in love with the story all the time, but that's why I think you have to step away from it, because if you're in love with the story, you have to come back to it. You have to finish this story. If you're not in love with it, you're gonna forget about it and move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
But I think you have to step away from it. I think it's like dailies. Like you have to step away from what you just filmed, wait a couple days, and come back to it, because life inspires art. So something may happen to you that day or the next day that like,
Trigger something.
That's the key. I cracked it. It's right there. So I think stepping away from it for a little bit.
With creative lulls, like sometimes when you know how like most of us like, well, you know, like you have like maybe one or two scripts you're writing at the same time and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I always felt like whenever I'm stuck on both, where I'm like, oh my gosh, like I don't even know where to start anymore. What I do is I do that too. I tend to just be like, you know what, today I'm just gonna live life, and if something happens, then it'll happen and it'll spark something.
Yep.
And it usually happens when I'm hanging out with friends and I'm having a conversation and
Yeah.
they just start talking, and they say something funny, and I'm like, oh, that'd be funny if some character said that. I'm like, oh,
And
how
that's
I
cool.
find out- look,
No, yeah,
I'm
that'd be cool.
gonna say
Carlos
this.
and Erik have called dibs on lines that people have.
really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have. Like, tips.
I write them down.
No, but you know what? I have to mention this. I don't know. You guys tell me if I'm wrong or if it's helped you or not. There tends to be moments where you talk to other filmmaker friends and you tell them, "Hey, man, I'm locked up with this one. What do you think?"
Mhm.
I'm on it. I've gotten to a point where it hurts me more than it helps me. So I recommend you talk to someone who's not a filmmaker. Tell them the story and see how they feel about it, because your filmmaker friend has their own way of looking at it. They're not you, so they're not you. So they're not you. So they're gonna advise you on how they would make the film, not how you would make the film. So to me, that kind of hurts because then your vision is thrown off its track.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So lately, I've been in that I've been in some creative ruts lately, to be honest, and like very lately, like these past few weeks lately. And I've asked filmmaker friends for their opinions and their takes, and it usually discourages me because I'm like, no, that's not what I want to do. That's not what I would do.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's going to help me, so I'm just going to do my thing and hope it works.
That definitely happened.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, if they're good friends, they'll slap you out of your mind and say you're being stupid, man. Like, just finish it or just do it or just do this. But I recommend ask a general audience member. Ask your mom, ask your brother, ask somebody whoever doesn't, your girlfriend, whoever who's not a filmmaker, because they're gonna give you like, oh man, no, yeah, that does work, or no, I don't want to see that. That's gonna turn me off to the movie. Stephen King has this quote where he says, "When in doubt, go with the masses." So,
Oh, was anyone in doubt? Rub one out. No.
well, that works for some people. That works for Erik. No,
Alright.
but yeah, I think creative ruts. Listen to yourself.
Yeah.
Listen to yourself. You're the one that's telling that story.
True.
Okay, I guess we got time for one more question. One more question.
One more.
Question. Let me see. There's a lot of good questions out here, man. I'm trying to pick one.
Well, you should let people know where to send their questions.
They know where to send. It's on my story. They need to ask.
That's pretty good though.
No, but that's good. That's
fun.
good. For future podcasts, guys, on Sundays, we'll do this on a live basis, right?
Okay.
Like, send your questions to the Tower Productions page, to Juan, Paul Films, or any of us, really. Send us questions
Those
that you
interesting
want
dark
answered.
ones too, if you want.
Those
Yeah.
interesting dark ones.
Send us questions.
Okay, here's the last one. So let's see. This is actually a good question. Opinion. So this is from Payasa del Rey. Opinions, and she's actually a really cool photographer. She took some pictures for me and stuff. Yeah.
Nice.
Opinions on no budget one person film shoots versus huge crew productions. With the
Well-
smiley face.
Opinion. What would you say again?
Opinions on smaller crews with one person crew versus bigger crew.
One person crew's a lot of work. Depending on the size of the large crew, either you get spoiled or you have a good time.
Yeah.
Another guy that we talked about before, Arturo Portillo. He did
Shout out.
Beaten all by himself. Shout out Arturo, and I mean,
Beaten.
he'll even tell you himself it's a pain in the ass. Michael used to do a lot of stuff all by himself.
Michael too.
So I mean, it's if you really want to make films and nobody wants to help you, fuck it, get out there on your own. But if you can get a group of people to help you out, I'd definitely recommend
Makes it a little bit easier for you. For sure.
Only do it on your own if people bailed on you.
Yeah.
If you've already looked for help and no one's out there, then be like, all right, then if I got to carry the equipment by myself and do everything, then screw it.
Also, I think you grow a little bit more when you work with more people because a lot of us who work on like by ourselves, it's like, yeah, we can be creative in one aspect, but we can never really like master it. And like I was talking to Carlos last time that like him being a director, even though you want to jump in and help everybody in all their different like hats, you focusing on one thing you really want to get good at and having the trust that like the rest of the team's gonna bring up the rest of the production. I mean, you'll grow as a filmmaker, and I think you make better projects. Like, you learn a lot by working by yourself and having to problem solve, and you have to kind of jump into like audio, acting, video, and all that. But
Life is unpredictable, as is filmmaking, and the truth of the matter is, establish a shorthand with somebody, but don't get too used to it because they might leave. The cool thing was the first time I met the Lao, he was on production for a class where I was the guest director of at a UTEP thing, and I was really nervous because I've worked with the same crew for the past 20 films, so I had a shorthand with everybody, and in this film in particularly, I didn't know anybody. That I was gonna work with.
Real quick, how does that feel when you just said that? 20 films.
Oh man.
Sorry, man.
Well, I mean, 20 films. I was the executive producer.
No, but it's cool, man.
Some
Under
I
your belt,
directed,
at
some I
least.
didn't. But
Yeah.
it's great. It's great. That's what this podcast is all about, right? Like, hopefully, this helps the new filmmaker that wants to
the
be
towering
right? So
filmmaker.
it's doable. But I was on that set. I didn't know anybody. I knew Jonathan Gonzalez. We'd been a crew member in the past, and he's a writer director too. De La O knew me or knew about me, but I didn't. I knew about him through Daniel. We didn't really know each other, so I didn't know a lot of people, and that made me nervous. But I got to set, man. The executive producer, which was Ramon Villa, shout out to Villa, man. He was a teacher of ours at UTEP, and
Shout out to Villa.
he recruited me for this, and he was on set like, all right, he's your boss. This director is your boss. Whatever he says goes. He would point out to the production assistants, PAs. You're gonna be right next to him for whatever he needs. You're gonna be holding his monitor. You're gonna be doing this. You're gonna be doing that.
Yeah, and he could do that because he's the professor. So
also Jason, like, I mean,
Jason as
shout
an
out,
AD.
shout out to him being an AD. I mean, you know, it showed me the importance of having them there to kind of instruct you, because I mean, for you, like, not knowing any of us, I mean, they made you feel like very taken care of. Where then you jumped in, and I mean, me also not knowing you and it being my first time, you know, trying to help pull focus and all that kind of stuff. Next to you, like, it felt like a smooth workfall.
It did. Like, it was definitely creating a comfortable environment. So I think that was a big set, is what I'm saying. We had what, maybe 20 crew members?
Yeah.
So it was a big set, and I've been on sets where I just work with Erik and Austin.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've worked with just Erik as a DP, just me and him going to shoot something.
We've done films like that.
Yeah. So you get spoiled, man. You get spoiled when you have a big set, but I think it makes for better workflow in the filmmaking environment.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, that was actually a really in-depth conversation I just had with y'all. I feel a little more connected.
man,
I feel like
that
I
was
know
pretty
you,
good.
you know?
For sure.
That's really cool.
You didn't know me?
I don't know you. I know you now.
On a side
I
note,
didn't want to know you.
I think it's our longest podcast.
Really?
podcast,
There you
right?
go. Really?
Yeah, we're at 136.
Wow.
Sorry
all-
about
that's
this,
all on you,
guys, or
Alfredo.
you're welcome,
Damn, you
depending on
already
if
know.
Hey, we gave you some good advice tonight.
We had to make it long.
Exactly.
I got
Extra
one.
special.
I'm gonna throw in one more, and this isn't even a question. This is more of a proposal. But I want to give a shout out to Legalize EP. They're a page that is pushing for cannabis. They're a cannabis enthusiast thing. They're trying. This guy was actually there when they passed the law recently to where you can actually hold a gram and stuff. Not that it matters, but he did ask a question because I told him to, hey man, like, you know, he's been wanting to work with us for a minute.
Oh, cool.
He says, do you guys have any ideas for putting together cannabis education videos?
We work off our strengths, so we know how to make films, we know how to make videos, commercials, etc. We don't know enough as much about cannabis as you do, so the knowledge comes into you coming and saying this is what this is all about, and the collaborating on like the video we can make for you. But in terms of knowledge of how to make a video, we got you.
We got that.
In terms of knowledge of how to make a video specifically about that, that's where the collaboration comes in.
Exactly.
And it's not just on cannabis, on anything. So
Hopefully
we're
that's-
happy to work with you
Yeah.
if you need a video.
Future.
But anyways, to wrap up the
Future,
TowerCast,
future.
we want to thank everybody who's listening.
The
we wanna
special guest of
thank-
the day,
yeah, special
Alfredo.
guest
Thank you
of
so
the
much
day.
for having
Oh, we
me.
didn't even
Tower
shout out to
Productions.
Yeah, yeah.
Alfredo's, you know,
Jewelry
bling
company.
bling.
So the jewelry workshop on Zaragoza and Kleinfield.
If you want some-
Saul Kleinfield, Zaragoza and Saul Kleinfield.
Talk to this guy.
1831.
By the
Talk to
way,
me.
Alfredo, fun fact, made a custom engagement ring for me for when I got engaged.
Beautiful.
it was custom.
Congratulations.
We worked on that together. I
Carlos
told
and
him what I
Sandra's
wanted.
engagement.
Yeah, so we appreciate
Beautiful.
you, man, because my Sandra loved it, and
They're like the unofficial Tower jeweler.
yeah, they are. So reach out to them
Check
for
them
any of your
out.
jewelry needs. Him and his pops run a great shop, and
Yeah.
and they're great. So shout out to that. We've been meaning to come
Definitely,
for cleaning soon, so we will.
Anytime free cleaning and inspection, bring it over. I'll help you all out.
Plug.
Awesome. And then thanks to Erik too. Appreciate it for keeping a look.
Producing today.
Yeah, producing. And then De La O.
The big
Any
office.
The big
final
O?
questions of the day or final
Comments?
word? The good word of the day.
My favorite word is kerfuffle.
Nice.
All right,
What does
elaborate.
kerfuffle mean?
Elaborate.
Sounds like a
Okay,
Pokemon.
so it's a argument caused by miscommunication.
Ah.
And like what I want to do is get kerfuffle tattooed on my hand because it's actually 9 letters, but I have like 8 fingers. So like everybody's always gonna have to ask, what is that? And I can share the word on kerfuffle.
I'm about to
Think about that a little bit more, okay?
That's deep.
Austin,
Austin, he's always keeping us on Facebook and everybody.
we thank everybody. Please shout us out, man. Share people the podcast that we're doing.
Yes, sir.
Um,
Yes, ma'am.
China-
You can find us
Japan,
on every
Iraq,
major
everybody.
platform. Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast.
YouTube.
Wherever you listen, make sure you give us that 5-star rating.
Oh, heck yeah.
Oh,
Please
yeah,
do.
please.
Always
Please
share with us.
listen- yeah.
And please engage more with us because that's all we were
Please.
trying to do, you know. And honestly, to those who, because I'll confess, I threw those questions like off the whim. I was gonna do trivia. I had trivia ready. I'm sorry. But
good?
I
That should be
figured
fun.
I was like, you know what? Like, let me see if like I have
engage more. I
filmmaker
like
friends
that.
on
I like that.
Instagram. Let me see if they.
Oh yeah, man. Keep bringing in the questions.
So if you guys are actors, directors, writers, people who are interested in film in general, or people who just like our stuff and content, please link us up, hit us up, and let us know. I'll definitely be sure to make questions. I'll probably do them like every Sunday, just beforehand and stuff. But if you guys want to ask questions to Carlos, Austin, you can find them on Instagram.
If you
know
want
where
to
to find
submit
them,
any
so.
questions, man, we're happy.
Let
to
us
help.
know. We're here
happy
for
to
you.
help.
We're always rooting for you. Make sure you're always shooting, writing, and editing, and always repeating that process. Never quit, because you know what?
Yes.
Quitters aren't going to be the ones that
Preach.
make it out at the end. It's going to be us, the people who don't quit.
That's
Thank
right.
you so
So
much
we're gonna see
for
you guys
listening.
next week for date night, for the episode date night. We'll have some
Seventh
special
episode.
guests.
Dang, I
on.
was on a
So-
volcanic eruption, then it was like,
Yeah.
wait, hold up, we got to
No, no,
like...
that's
Date
good.
night
That's
was
good.
one of
Plug
my
in something
favorites.
Yeah, we'll be doing.
Here we go again.
I can't do it twice. I can only do
All
it
right.
once.
We'll
But
see
thank
you all
guys.
next week. Thank you so much.
And thanks for tuning in.
Don't cut this one.